Welcome back again to another episode of Real Talk. I'm George Simpson. I coordinate the people and the operations here at Najib Real Estate. And I'm joined once again by the one and only Nathan Najib. How are you today?
I'm doing good, George. Good to be back.
Good to be back doing another video. So in today's Q&A, we're going to cover recent market updates from the past month, focusing on the OCR announcement that came out earlier on today. We will also discuss important trends and real estate tips that you can take with you moving forwards. So make sure you stick around to the end. We've also got a pretty exciting announcement for something that we have coming up soon. So do stick around for that. And we also have some subscriber questions that have been sent in by you people, which we're going to be answering as well. So Nathan, let's get into it if we can. The first question is, today an OCR announcement was made, and the OCR is now 4.25%, down from 4.75%. Additionally, BNZ recently cut their 6-month home loan interest rates from 6.49% to 5.99%. How will these OCR changes affect interest rates and supply and demand in the property market, do you think?
George, it's good news that obviously the OCR has come back, and OCR goes hand in hand with interest rates. So the OCR is down, and obviously the interest rate as well. And well, these things are good. Whilst they're great from current homeowners, for buyers, the banks are still pretty strict. So is the market gonna take off or pick up? Probably not. And plus, there's a lot of people still struggling. So it takes time for them to save up, get themselves perhaps job if they lost their jobs during this higher unemployment, slightly higher than what it was, because as we've said, as the Phillips curve explains, when inflation is low, under 2%, the unemployment is higher. So it will take a little bit of time for stabilize, and then the market perhaps slowly recovery.
You mentioned last week a client brought up to you that banks have been tough with lending this year. Will the banks become more lenient with approvals moving forward? And what are some tactical tips people can use to maximize their lending potential?
Sure. One of the levers that the banks and the government use, George, is making it harder for people to borrow money and raising the interest rate, because as the thing goes, like the higher interest rate, the lower the market. The lower the interest rate, the higher the market. So once they know that the market has come back where they wanted to, and the finance minister wanted to be the household income, the average home price to be 3 to 5 times the household income. Once it comes back to that, and then they will turn the tap and start making it easier for people to borrow money. And my suggestion would be to keep saving, put deposit aside, because I remember just a quick story when in 2008, off the back of 2009, the peak, the banks were very hard to borrow money from, and I couldn't borrow money at all. And so I just went ahead and started saving money. And then by the time the market hit the bottom, the price was at the lowest, the bank turned the tap back around, made it easy. I bought a house with 5% deposit. So
yeah, sure.
That would be my recommendations.
Okay, very good. And following our recent video about auctions, is there negotiation room for buyers in the current market? And on top of that, what advice would you have for sellers at this time?
For auctions is as you should watch the video that we've put up. That's a great video to watch for sure. But also, it's because if you can go and bid, you're in a better position, a better situation, because a lot of people can't bid because banks are so hard. So you won't be the only bidder. The only thing I would suggest you be a little bit tougher when you're negotiating. And for sellers, with the video also we recommended what to do, how to choose your agent. I suggest we put a link to that video that we explained that question in detail.
Absolutely do check that one out. So the inflation rate is currently 2.2%, with the next update due on the 22nd of January. Meanwhile, media reports indicate that retailers are seeing increased consumer spending following the OCR rate dropping. What are your thoughts on this? And is there anything you want to highlight regarding the real estate cycle here?
The Phillips curve suggests that when inflation is low, the unemployment is high. Maybe there's a little bit of positivity, so people are spending a little bit more money. I suggest that's why the retail shopper may be a little bit busier.
Yeah.
But I suggest the next inflation is going to be lower, and then off the back of that, as we said, as the Phillips curve suggests, is unemployment going to get higher. So there's going to be still people going to perhaps lose their jobs and things. So the real estate cycle would potentially probably be at the bottom. If we're not already at the bottom, we'll be in the bottom next 6 months, and then recovery, recalibration for next probably 12 to 18 months. I'm suggesting, like I suggested in a video yesterday, or audio that we did yesterday, that probably coming back to the healthy growth of real estate or economy, 2 to 4%, will be probably potentially early to mid 2026.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. And with Donald Trump obviously winning the US election, do you think that that's good news and will affect America and other Western countries in a positive way?
Absolutely. I did some research. I've got some numbers, some things here to share. Since Donald Trump came, he's not even in the power yet. He hasn't even taken over the White House yet. The things that he's changed, and obviously these are all good positive effects, is Trump is obviously now, and I think 6th of November was the election, is the president-elect. Stock market hits record high. Hamas calls for end of war. Bitcoin hit the record high. Putin ready to end Ukraine war. Qatar kicks out Hamas leaders. EU will buy US gas, not Russian gas. Putin will sell oil in the US dollars. Zelensky phones Trump and Elon. China wants to work peacefully with US. All those things makes a huge difference, because America being a world power, it makes a whole lot of difference, because if stock goes up, we got a whole lot of people that's investing in stock. But that's going to take time, though. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yes.
While stock market goes up and down pretty rapidly, everything else in the economy takes a little bit of time. 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, I suggest.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's all amazing news. And, you know, with regard to house prices, again, economists predict, and quote, "We only expect house prices to rise by a modest 4% over the coming year and by 6% in 2026. A housing market rebound will boost consumer spending and dwelling investment and put some upward pressure on inflation. However, that will not prevent the Reserve Bank from slashing rates." What are your thoughts on this statement?
It's interesting, look, like, you know, you gotta remember to make sure you listen to the right people. Economists suggested last year the market was going to go up. It didn't go up. The year before, they said it's going to go up. The year before that, they said it's going to go up. They always say they got to be right once, right?
Yeah.
So you got to listen. You got to know who you find the right people to listen to. Now, second thing is I want to share was the 5 variables that affect the real estate market is average house prices, how much it goes up year on year, number of homes sold, supply, and then mortgage rate fluctuation. And then obviously the number 5 is affordability, inflation, unemployment rate. Now, yes, the interest rate and OCR may be coming back slightly. The inflation will be, the next inflation will be at 2%. But what concerns me in particular in Christchurch, George, is the supply. You don't need to go far to see thousands and thousands of sections being released or they already released, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how easy the bank's gonna make it, how much interest is gonna drop. It's still gonna be, there's gonna be a whole lot of supply, and the demand is not gonna be as much as the supply, meaning the market is still gonna stay soft.
Sure.
I don't see the growth that they're suggesting, but I'm suggesting recalibration as I suggested for probably next 12 months, potentially 18 months, and then back to our healthy growth that we've been talking about for years is 2 to 4% growth.
A recent article stated latest figures are pointing to a possible end to what we're calling the buyer's market. But it's too early to break out the champagne yet.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is too early to break out the champagne. That's for sure. I think there'll be a little while before we turn back to the seller's market, and it doesn't flick like this. And in particular, as we spoke about in the last answer that we gave, these 5 variables, and look at the supply, the amount of supply that we have, it's way over. We are way over supply. For that to flick to a seller's market, meaning that we're gonna have more demand than supply.
Yeah.
And I don't see that anytime soon. You don't need to go far in Christchurch to have a look how many properties on the market, how many subdivisions happening, how many townhouses on the market. It's you gotta watch. You gotta watch those 2 things, supply and demand, and then you can kind of like correctly
Assess what type of market we're in, right?
predict, right?
Amazing. Amazing. And lastly, I just have 3 questions for you from our subscribers. So thank you very much to those subscribers who are sending questions in. I have a question from Thomas Wang 2267. Thank you, Thomas, for your question. Do you think that prices will remain the same for the next couple of months during the summer period and change when winter comes?
I think it might be longer than just a couple of months for the price to stay still. As I said, like the market don't just take off at a snap. It takes time for the recovery, for people to save up, for interest rate to drop, for the banks to make it easier for people, and then slow recovery.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little while. It's not like you look back and you got a 10% growth. That doesn't happen. So it will be a little while. There's still some good buys out there.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bouncing back anytime soon, I suggest.
Sure. And Mike, thank you, Mike, for your question. I bought a house in 2021 in Woodend, but due to COVID, it got delayed and was handed over this year in June. Unfortunately, the value has dropped from what we bought it for, and we had no idea that the market would crash so much. It's our first home, and we did a custom build. However, we are on 2 jobs to afford our mortgage. Seeking an opinion, do you think we rent it or sell it? Personally, we don't want to sell it, as we do have emotions attached.
It's a hard one. There's a lot of people in that situation, Mike. So my suggestion, if I was in Mike's shoes, what would I do? I would potentially carry on with my 2 jobs, because obviously I don't want to lose my house.
Yeah.
As long as I can service the mortgage I would suggest bank on somewhere around 5%, because the mortgage that's usually will be the average market interest rate will be around 5%. I suggest.
Yeah.
And then just wait it out if you can. The wait won't be quick, as I said. It will be a little while, and yeah, it's we're suggesting to people, George, in the peak in 2021 and 2022 not to buy. So if you've bought now and you've built your custom home, congratulations to you. I'm suggesting if you can hold on to it, and the way to hold on to it is to persevere, as we've been speaking about.
Yeah.
And how you do that, just carry on with your 2 jobs and pay your interest. Perhaps my recommendation would be just have interest only. Talk to the bank and drop to interest only, rather than interest in principal. And if you got a 4-bedroom house, have tenants, flatmates living with you. That will make it a little bit easier and subsidize your mortgage.
Absolutely.
I hope you get through this, Mike.
Absolutely. And the last question is, with a lot of talk about interest rates dropping in the upcoming weeks, do you see first home buyers coming to the market and creating a bit of competition in early 2025, especially with properties under 700,000?
Yeah. With interest rate dropping, to be honest, like, George, you would never see the interest rate at 2.19%. That was bizarre. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That we had interest rate. The money was so cheap. That's why the market just went insane. So I don't think the interest rate will be much lower than 5%, to be frank. And the first home buyers market, it's been like the first home buyers market, that is the area that hasn't quieted down too much. But there's plenty of supply. So as I said before, the market, it will be more supply even if it's a little bit more demand, it would make huge difference. So you'll be all right. You'll be able to find a good first home, I hope.
Well, absolutely. And thank you very much. As for our announcement at the end of each year, we do a video about our house price predictions for the coming year. So please do expect to see a video on our channel predicting the 2025 house prices coming out on the 18th of December. Thank you once again for your continued support of our YouTube channel. Without you guys, we wouldn't be doing this and spreading this knowledge. And of course, we are a Christchurch and Selwyn-based real estate company. So please do get in touch with us if you need any advice or you'd like any help on your property journey. You can reach us at hello@najibre.co.nz. That's hello@najibre.co.nz. If there's anything in particular that you'd like us to cover in a future video, as we did today, please do leave a comment and we'll be sure to get back to you in a video or in the comments section. Otherwise, please do keep watching our videos. We've put some cool stuff out there. This has been Real Talk.